I found out that there's 4 key ingredients that are necessary if you want to effectively train somebody. That's good content. You got to know the right way to do it in the first place. Repetition, practice, and accountability.
Came up from the bottom to the top. And the young is gonna never stop. And he always punching in the clock.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys listening. This is good shit. You guys are closers, or at least
we had 103 people registered, so I'm sure they're going to keep flowing in.
Well, right on. Well, that's a whole bunch of people going to miss out then.
That's right. The rest of the world.
The fact that you guys are already in this, let's call it industry is good. At the end of the day, it's the highest paid profession in the world. When I started out, I didn't really, know too much about sales, but I accidentally figured it out. At 6 years old, they gave me a bunch of candy bars to go sell door to door from my school. And I went to a door and I knocked on it, and, I didn't really have anything to say, and they didn't buy anything. And the next one didn't buy anything. And I thought, man, I better come up with some sort of pitch. So I knocked on the door. The next one, I hid the candy bars behind my back. And I said, do you have the phone number to a good roof repairman? They said, what? I said, because when you taste one of these, you're going to go through the roof. And frickin', they bought the whole box. I went to the next one, boom, bought the whole box. I started slinging those candy bars like nobody's business. I basically sold out of all the candy bars I had, went back to school. They started giving me all the candy bars the other kids couldn't sell because they were probably just sitting there knocking on doors like idiots. Well, you have to develop a pitch, but I was 6 years old, so I didn't really recognize the skill set that I had naturally just using the brain. So I grew up not really, knowing about sales, even though I had already been successful doing it. And I got talked into all these people, my family, my uncles, my dad, everybody told me to get a real job. Sales ain't a real job. Get a real job where you're guaranteed some money, guaranteed some money. That's what everybody's afraid of when it comes to closing. It comes to commission-based sales. Well, what if I don't make any money? Well, then that means you suck. Okay, so get some skills, man, and you won't go without making any money. So at the end of the day, I went and believed these people. I went and got a job fighting forest fires, or at least I thought, up in the mountains in Oregon. And I'm picturing myself, saving eagle eggs and shit with a wolf by my side. I pictured myself walking around in a flannel shirt being a hero. Well, I get up there the first day. I didn't have a wolf or anything. I had a big old heavy backpack filled with water, and my job was to go squirt the stumps that were smoldering. And I'm like, dude, this is not what I thought it was going to be. It was harder than hell. I'm going uphill, downhill. And then I end up with a little patch of poison oak. I tell them, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to show up. There's a little poison oak on my arm. And they said, what are you talking about, bro? He rips open his shirt and his whole body was covered in poison oak. And I'm like, dude, you expect me to go get poison oak every day all over my body? That's part of the job. He says, absolutely. There's a lot of people waiting in line to do this job, young man. I said, well, they can have it. So I quit, went home, knew I was going to get bitched at for not, having the job that everybody wanted in life, which this was a good job back then, paid $22 an hour back in like 1912. So it was a good job to have, but man, that hard labor bullshit, no, I was not down for it. And I was definitely not going to get poison oak. So I opened up a newspaper and I saw a job for selling cars. So I applied for the job to sell cars. And the first month I made $6,000. They told me to pick out a free car that I got to drive for free. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? These guys want me to have poison oak. These guys want me to have a freaking Trans Am. I'm like, dude, I think I found my home. It wasn't rocket science. I'm like, dude, I like this crap. So ultimately I started selling, and then I just literally started, learning and dealing with customers and developing thick skin and realizing, closes and human behavior. And so I got very good at it. And then, throughout my sales career up until I was 30, I sold all kinds of crap. I sold art, I sold RVs, I sold vacuums, I sold freaking everything. Mostly legal, but I sold everything. And I mastered the skill sets of selling and closing and persuasion and influence. And that's why I'm where I am today. Without the ability to sell, close, and persuade, you're handicapped. A lot of people don't think they're in sales. And people always say, what's the difference between a good salesperson and a bad one? Well, in my opinion, the bad salesperson they don't realize they are a salesperson. We've been selling since we came out the womb looking for a nipple. We've been selling them on freaking changing our diaper. We've been selling people on, getting better grades, cleaning up their room. We're selling every single day, whether we like it or not. And a lot of these people, they don't understand they're in sales. So that's why they suck. Once someone is aware they're in sales and they start trying to figure out the information they need to get better, that's when life gets better. So I started kicking ass, taking names, making, more money than anybody in my family. I was making more money than anybody on that damn Poison Oak crew. And so I just, kept learning. Well, I ended up back in the car business. I was running a car dealership. I was able to take people out of Burger King or some manual labor job and teach them how to close quickly and watch them go from minimum wage to 15 grand a month. And if you don't think that changes lives, it does. And I was watching these lives transform. I was watching, good people with kids that could barely afford to pay attention start living, start smiling, start walking around feeling better about themselves. And I thought to myself, man, I want to do this for a living. So I quit my job and I went out on the road and I started to become a sales trainer. Well, once I got out on the road, I couldn't get the same results that I did when I was working, and I couldn't figure out why. So I did a little research and I found out that there's 4 key ingredients that are necessary if you want to effectively train somebody. That's good content. You got to know the right way to do it in the first place. Repetition, practice, and accountability. And I realized most of these companies weren't doing these things, nor was I. And that's why it wasn't working all of a sudden. When I went back to when I worked for somebody doing this for a living, I realized that I was there every day. I was practicing with them. I was repeating myself. I was holding them accountable. I was doing all these things. I just didn't know I was doing it. So I had to invent a software that allowed me to deliver, track, and measure content with repetition, practice, and accountability. So I had an interactive training platform built so I could put my content in it and then sell it to individuals and businesses to train them. Well, that started to work really well. People started getting a lot of results. People started changing their life again. And it was like, cool, I made it. So I went out and started selling it to businesses, and I got about 60 to 80 businesses to give me $1,000 a month just to use my passwords and train their teams. And then I started running into people that had preferences like Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar or all these other trainers that were out there. And I couldn't get them to buy mine. So I decided I'm going to go get the trainers that they want and license my software to the expert. So I went and closed the people that were teaching people to close. So I'm the dude that closes the dude that teaches you to close. So anyway, I went out and closed all these fools, and they started using my system to go out and train because it trained people better than they could. And they were trying to help people too and make an impact. And so I just said, I'll just take a little piece for my niece. I'll take a little sliver to deliver, a little tad for Brad, a little fraction of the action. And I told them where all these people were that wanted their software, that wanted the software. And they went out and started selling all these different companies. And then all these companies were like, wow, this is the coolest shit I ever saw. How do I get one? Then they started calling me wanting their own system for their own things. And the next thing you know, we're training General Motors and UFC and Tony Robbins and all these powerful people and big names. And what's more impressive is we were helping the people that you've never heard of before train people, make money online. So we were helping subject matter experts monetize their knowledge and build training systems to help their clients. And then we were also helping people that just wanted to train their employees and organizations better. And that just kind of blew up. And then, ended up doing, thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. And then took me about 12 years, but eventually started, making good money and then making better money and then making better money. And then pretty soon everybody's like, how the hell did you do it? And here we are today. So that's kind of the story, folks. That's the story. But, there was a lot of things that happened in between. Like, for example, I didn't make a dime for about 8 years. I had to park my car around the block and down the road so no one repoed it. Like I went a long time without money. And then when I finally started making some money, I didn't just freaking spend it and get a new apartment and get a better car. I freaking took the money and hired somebody, right? And then there was 2 of us now to get back to 10,000. And then as soon as I got back to 10,000 a month, I'd grab 5 and hire somebody else and hire somebody else. And all my friends would make fun of me going, I thought you were getting rich. Why are you still living in your 1-bedroom apartment? Why are you still driving that old shitter? Well, because I took the money and I was putting it back into the business. I was hiring other people, right? I was reinvesting in the business, the marketing, the gas, the travel, all the crap that goes along with it. So about 8 years, everybody thinks I'm full of shit because I don't have any visual signs of any money. So, but the money was coming. It was just getting reinvested and reinvested and reinvested. The technology had to keep getting better. You know, the facilities, the cameras, all the stuff that we needed to do business. So I just kept reinvesting. And then I got to a point where, you know, there was a little bit left over. And then I got it to a point where there was a whole lot left over. And now I'm to a point where shit, dog. And that's where everybody wants to get to. Well, in order to get there, you know, you're going to face some hurdles, man. You're going to face problems. And the problem is everybody wants to run from problems. Everybody wants to avoid problems. Well, folks, problems are where the opportunities are. So if you're one of those fools that get up in the morning and try to avoid all those problems, you're avoiding all those opportunities, dude, and wondering why you ain't going to the next level. Because number one, you're not getting good at solving problems. If you want to make $1 million, solve 1 million problems or one big one. At the end of the day, if you knew for a fact every problem you solved got you closer to millions of dollars, what would you be doing every day? You'd be looking for problems. Look at what most people are doing, dude. They're avoiding problems. They're running from problems. They're ignoring problems. They're dodging problems. Problems is where the money is. So anyway, all the hurdles came my way, but I didn't really necessarily think they were hurdles. I thought they were opportunities. So that's the perspective that I had. A lot of people ask me, Brad, you know, what did it feel like when you hit rock bottom? And I'm like, well, I've never really hit rock bottom. And they're like, well, what do you mean, dude? You were homeless on the beach in Los Angeles. And I said, well, number one, it was a beach. Like, how hard is it to sleep on a beach, man? There's people that pay for that shit. You know, you're acting like that's rock bottom. Like, damn, dude. See, your perspective matters. They put a poor kid and a rich kid in a room full of shit. They came back in an hour. The rich kid's pissed off. The poor kid's happy playing in it. They asked the rich kid, what's the problem? He says, you put me in a room full of shit, bro. What do you think? And then they asked the poor kid, why are you so happy? He said, with all this shit, there has to be a pony in here somewhere. So same situation, 2 different outlooks, 2 different perspectives. I had the poor kid's perspective. You know why? Because I'm not afraid to lose. Failure is required for success. Michael Jordan has failed at basketball way more than I have. If you're afraid of failure, that's the problem. You have to fail. Okay, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to stay the same. Like everybody says, dude, well, you know, you quit a job. What about rent? What about your kids? What about all the things you had to pay for? In my mind, what's the worst that could have happened? Shit didn't work. I go get another job. Because if you don't take a chance, folks, you're going to work for someone who did. So at the end of the day, dude, you're already way ahead of others. You know why? Because you're on this call and you're showing that you're not afraid. You're not afraid to make hoop. You're not afraid to get the goose egg. But more importantly, you guys won't get a goose egg if you pay attention. You look for problems. You guys understand that people don't buy products and services. They buy solutions. They buy the result. People come to me. They're like, Brad, teach me how to close like you do. I go, well, let me hear your pitch. And then they're talking about their product. They're selling their product or service. And I'm like, dude, we're not necessarily, you know, rocket scientists over here, but do you want to sell them or not? They're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, why are you trying to sell them shit they don't want? Nobody wants your product. Nobody wants your service. They want the result. Sell the result. Don't sell the product. Don't talk about your product. Talk about the result of your product. You see what I'm saying? And by the way, if some of you were thinking in your mind, oh my, he has quite colorful language. Well, I was raised poorly. I dropped out of high school at 16, got kicked out of my house. Just like any 16-year-old, I started making some pretty good decisions, figured I'd drop out of high school, moved to LA to be a movie star, went down there to be a movie star, had no money, ended up sleeping on the beach for a couple weeks. Well, guess how I got off the beach? I found me a female. I went and closed a female to let me sleep in her house and then let me use her car. And then everyone's like, well, shit, dude, that's not good. Why is it not good, fool? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to take advantage of opportunities. Okay. You guys have to unlearn some of the shit you've learned. Like, you know, there's people that say money doesn't grow on trees. Who's heard that? Put a finger up if you've heard that before. Yeah, everybody, look at that. Everybody's heard that. Well, dude, does anyone tell you where money does grow? Hold up 2 fingers if you know where money grows. Who wants to know where money grows? Thumbs up if you want to know where money grows. I'll tell you where money grows, fool. In other people's pockets. That's where money grows. And guess what? If you want more money, you got to know more people. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Write that shit down. People say, hey, how do I double my income? Do more than you're doing. Get better at what you're doing and then scale. I know salespeople working for a company. They say, yeah, Brad, how do I do it? I say, hire an assistant. Well, I work for a company. They won't let me hire an assistant. I'm like, first of all, you don't need their permission, dude. They want you to sell more. They don't care how you sell more 9 times out of 10. They just want you to sell more. This other guy comes to me, he says, Brad, I want you to coach me. I said, I don't coach people. He said, well, I need you to freaking tell me how to win. Tell me how to do this. I said, well, I don't really do that. He said, well, what do you need me to do? I said, well, shit, dude, you know, $100,000 would do it. He said, here's $100,000. First thing I asked him, I said, how much, what are you trying to accomplish? He says, I want to make more money. I said, how much are you making right now? He said, about 700 grand a year. I said, that's pretty good. And you want to make more? He said, yeah. I said, tell me how you're making the 700 grand. He said, well, Monday through Thursday, I prospect. And then on Friday, I close appointments. And I said, so how do you get paid? Well, when I make a sale. I said, okay, well, you're prospecting for 4 days and closing for 1. So why don't you close 2 days a week? He says, well, then I can't prospect. I said, well, what do you need to prospect? He said, you have to prospect in order to get someone to sell. I said, you can't hire someone to prospect? I had him hire 2 virtual assistants out of the Philippines, taught them how to prospect. Now they were prospecting 5 days a week and he was closing 5 days a week. And he went from freaking 700 grand to 2.7 million by the end of the year. Couldn't believe it. Thought I was magic. Guys, it ain't magic, man. It's called common sense. Use your kidneys. You want more? Do more. Okay. Once you're doing more, well, then get better at what you're doing. Okay. So you do more, that'll make you more. And then you get better. So you can either make more or do less and make the same. Sometimes you just don't want to work so hard. So guess what? Get better. You don't have to do as much to make the same amount. And then once you've done as much as you can, and then you get as good as you can, well, then the third one is scale, and scaling is hiring people, right? If you're getting paid $1,000 to make a sale and you can get old Billy Bob to do it for 800, doesn't take any time from you. Let Billy Bob make the sale, get 200, but just go get 1,000 Billy Bobs. They can outperform your one ass, that's for sure. So no, you're not getting the whole 1,000. Now you're only getting 200, but guess what? You got 761 Billy Bobs running around working for you. And then everyone's going to go, dude, how'd you do it? And you're going to go, shit, dude, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't rocket science. You want to do more, get better, and then scale. So the hurdles that'll come your way, dude, 9 times out of 10 are just opportunities to learn, opportunities to freaking polish your skills, meet new people, etc. But the bottom line is the more hands you shake, the more money you make. It's at the end of the day, dude, it's how many people know you. Okay. You got to build a personal brand. You know, I can do a swipe up on my Instagram and sell $100,000 worth of shit in 10 minutes. Why? Well, because I have, you know, a shitload of people following me. So how do you build a personal brand? Put a thumbs up if you got a private social media account. Because if you do, you better take that shit off private. That's the equivalent of someone coming up saying, hey, Jared, how are you? And you go like this. None of your damn business is how I am. Don't worry about it. Now, what would you do if you walked up and said, hey, how you doing? The guy says, none of your business. That's how I'm doing. Pound sand, fool. What are you going to do? You're going to be like, dick. That's what a private account feels like. You know, you reach out to somebody, they go right to your social media. Oh, private. Well, what are you hiding? First of all, what are you hiding? You vote for Biden or something? What are you hiding, folks?
Shit.
You know, at the end of the day, dude, you got to freaking open up. You got to be able to go out there and introduce yourself. But see, most people, they don't want to introduce themselves. I don't know what to say. Well, what if they don't like what I said? Well, what if they think I'm an asshole? You know, if you're more worried about other people's opinion, it just means that you have to raise the value of your own. How do we raise the value of our own opinion? Because, dude, if you guys want to do good in sales, you have to position yourself as an expert. People want to trust you. People want to know that you're a go-to resource. People want to know that you got their back. Well, how are they going to know that if you don't even know that about yourself? You're all insecure and shit. Well, if you're insecure, dude, you got to fix that. You know, relationships is the new currency. And the most important relationship that you can ever build is the one you have with yourself. Now, the question is, do I like myself? Well, there's a lot of people that'll be like, yeah, I like myself just fine, but they really don't. They're just saying that. That's the ego, you know, protecting themselves. You can tell if you like yourself by looking in the mirror. Okay. What's your body look like? What's your car look like? What's your house look like? Is it where you want to be? And if the answer is, well, hell no. Well, why are you doing that to yourself? And then people are like, what are you talking about? Dude, you want to know the dude? You want to know the girl? You want to know the guy that can make you a multimillionaire right now? I'll tell you exactly. I'll introduce him to you right now. Folks, all you got to do is go into a bathroom, make sure it's empty, shut the door, look around. And you'll see that son of a bitch looking right back at you. Okay. That's the son of a bitch that can freaking change your life. So guess what? You want to be really nice to that individual. You want to build a relationship to that individual. You want to freaking kiss that dude's ass or that girl's ass. You want to serve that person, right? You want to freaking fall in love. You want to be besties with that person because that's the person that can change your life. That's the person that can hold you back too. 9 times out of 10, dude, we hold ourselves back. Do you know why? Because we will never outperform our own self-image. It'll never happen. Your self-image is holding you back. Your self-image is why you are where you are. The reason why is because you're getting what you're getting because you're doing what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing because you believe what you believe. And you believe what you believe because of the information you got. So let's reverse engineer that, removing all the freaking rocket science. Ready? You want to change what you're getting? Change what you're doing. How do you change what you're doing? You change what you believe. How do you change what you believe? You get new information. How do you get new information? Read a fucking book. Listen to a podcast. Jump on shit like this more often. Okay. Every day you should be seeking new information intentionally. Like, every day I'm seeking new information. Here, I'll give you guys what I call my $1 million morning. Okay. Now this right here will make a massive impact on your life if you actually do it. Number one, you wake up with gratitude. And what I mean by gratitude is this. If I told you guys all, hey, surprise, I'm going to hand you all $1 million cash. You'd all be pumped up, fired up, enthusiastic. You'd be so fired up, nobody could shit on your parade. Yes or no? Okay, so $1 million is all it takes to make you freaking turn into a fire-breathing dragon with enthusiasm and hope for the future. $1 million. Okay, would you take $1 million if I said you couldn't wake up tomorrow? No, you would not. Which means waking up is worth more than $1 million, isn't it? Well, then why do we wake up all pissy and shit? Why do we wake up without the same enthusiasm, without the same gratitude? So every morning you wake up, just remember, dude, this is worth more than $1 million. Thank God. And your perspective shifts to everything now is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity. Holy shit, I get another day. That's how you should be feeling when you wake up. And then you're not laying in bed, bummed out. You know, I got to make my car payment somehow. No, you get to make your car payment somehow. Oh, I'm going to get kicked out of my apartment. No, bro, you get to get kicked out of your apartment. That is a good thing. That's an opportunity. Okay, so you have to shift that perspective. That's the first thing, gratitude. Second thing, work on your health. Guys, I don't care what you think about health. Listen, I used to think the same thing. Okay, I used to be a lot fatter than I am today. And you know what my excuse was? I'm married. What do I need abs for? Shit, not only that, I was getting chicks fat. What do I need to be in shape for? That shit's uncomfortable. Well, guess what, dude? What I didn't realize is the more fit you are, the more mentally fit you are, the better you feel, the more energy you have, the quicker you are, the more respect you get. Guys, I'm telling you, you're being judged every time someone sees your face. Every time someone sees your body, every time someone sees anything about you, you're being judged. They're just not saying it. You're judging me right now. And by the way, if any of you have anything negative in your head, like, oh, this guy's a dick. No, you're a dick. You're just pissed off that I've discovered it and you haven't. At the end of the day, dude, you got to look in the mirror and realize, dude, people are judging me. So why let them make all these assumptions if you can do something about it? So the first thing you do in the morning is the gratitude. The second thing is get your heart rate moving, man. Get your blood pumping. 30 minutes at least, just get your blood pumping. Someone says, well, I don't have enough money for a gym membership. Well, can you freaking move up and down next to your bed or next to underneath the bridge, wherever you live? Like, dude, there's no excuse. You can't wake up in the morning and lift heavy things. You need a trainer. Come on, man. You need the freaking decision to do it. And then you need the discipline, because a lot of people, they don't have the discipline, and that's why they don't get it. I always tell people, dude, who wants to be rich? They all raise their hand. I'm like, 90% of you can put your hand down because you're not willing to do what it takes anyway. You're just raising your hand because you want it, but you really don't want it. How do I know? Because when I tell you exactly what to do, you're like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Folks, if you want comfort, seek discomfort. If you seek comfort, you're going to end up uncomfortable. So you want to be in shape. You want to be physically fit. Doesn't mean you need a six-pack of abs. It means you need to be in shape more than you are currently, which requires, very simply, eat better and get 30 minutes worth of exercise. Get your heart rate pumping. That's it. Number two, relationships are the new economy. So every day you pick 5 people you're going to send a message to. Love you, miss you, appreciate you, freaking just wanted to touch base and say hello. Like the 3 C's, okay? Congratulations, condolence, or compliment. If you can't figure out a way to compliment people, you're an asshole. Everybody has something you can compliment. Okay, so you want to reach out to people and you want to get in the habit of touching base with people who you want to build a relationship with, because what you focus on grows. So you want to focus on relationships every day. So every day you wake up, just in the morning before you leave the house, boom, attitude of gratitude. Bang, 30 minutes, knock out some good, healthy meal. Boom, write down 5 people who you're going to shoot something positive to for that day. Who knows those people every time they call, they want something? You guys want to be those people? Every time your phone rings, people look down, they're like, oh, this dickhead again, he needs something. He doesn't call any other reason. Well, guys, don't be one of those people. Call for no reason. Hey, man, just wanted to freaking reach out to you, man. Tell you I appreciate you. Hey, thanks for doing business with me, man. Not looking for anything. Just wanted to freaking tell you thank you. So relationships every single morning. Step 3, 5 that drive. 5 that drive. What are 5 things that will drive you revenue today? Because you're gonna want to focus on money, guys. There's a lot of people that'll tell you, money's not important. Yes, it is. Okay, it is important. With money, you can reach your potential. Okay, it's not, I didn't make up the rules. It's just is the rule. So people say, oh, it's not about money. Dude, tell them people to shut up. Yes, it is about money. Okay, it's not only about money, but with money, you can make an impact. Well, I want to help people. With money, you can help more people. With money, you can go more places. With money, you can get more services. With money, you can do more advertising. With money, you can buy better shit and get better. So you want money, don't you? So what are the 5 things that drive revenue every single day? You're focused on 5 things that day to drive revenue. And you don't go to bed until you do those things. And then the last one is learn something. This is before you leave your house, folks. Learn something. Pick up a book, read 10 pages. Listen to a podcast for 20 minutes. Learn something. Seek new information. If you want to change what you're getting, change what you're doing. If you want to change what you're doing, you got to change what you believe. In order to change what you believe, you have to have new information. If you do not get new information, it is impossible to ever change your mind. Ever. If you get no new info, your mind will be the same. It's impossible. Like, for example, you might be getting new information today, which is why you're changing your opinion. You're changing your belief. And the beliefs that will be changed today will cause you to do different shit tomorrow and the next day. And that will cause in a month or 2 different shit to happen. And then you can freaking hit me up on social media and say, thanks, dog, because it's all about change what you believe to change what you do. And then what you do will change your results. And by the way, that's negative or positive. You can believe the wrong shit and worse shit happens. So again, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things I could teach you guys to like just make it simple, knock it out day by day. But that is what's called the $1 million morning. If you just wake up appreciative that you just got to wake up, dude, that means the day is going to be great. The question is how great? Okay, that kind of gratitude. Focus on 30 minutes, get your blood pumping. Write down freaking 5 to 10 people who you want to reach out to for no apparent reason other than to compliment them and want nothing from them. That'll build those relationships. Focus on 5 things that are going to drive revenue today and then learn something. And then go to work, then leave the house, then start prospecting. Don't do shit until you do those things. And if somebody says, well, I don't have time, dude, that's another bullshit thing. People say we only have 24 hours in a day. Who's heard that before? Okay, well, I got 100 employees right here every single day giving me 8 hours. So I got 800 hours every day without even including mine. So why are you limiting yourself? Why are you limiting your belief? Ain't time. You got time, son. You got time. Okay. Are you going to make time or are you going to make excuses? Because I tell everybody when I meet them, dude, we're all millionaires. The question is, do you have $1 million excuses or $1 million? Which one? If you guys have any kind of fear of introducing yourself, if you guys have any kind of lack of confidence, then that's going to be a big problem if you want to excel in the world of sales and commission. The reason you have a lack of confidence, if you do, and a lot of you don't think you do, but you still do, it's just called ego. There's arrogance and confidence. You can be arrogant without being confident. But if you have a lack of confidence, that may be a problem because you're not going to outperform your own self-image. What that means is you have to figure out how to win. You have to figure out how to change that. Because if you don't get any confidence, folks, it's going to be an uphill battle. That's why you don't want to introduce yourself because, you know, you're more worried about other people's opinions than you are your own. Why don't you value your own opinion? Well, my mama told me that I wasn't going to be nothing. And you agreed with her? Well, my daddy, he freaking left me. My dad kicked me out at 16. Freaking, so what? Okay, your past doesn't define who you are. You choose who you are. You choose what you're going to be. So you have to literally get rid of that freaking thinking. And the way to do that, I created these 6 steps that worked for me. I call them the sacred 6 because I'm telling you, it caused me to stop worrying so much about what everybody else thinks. See, if I cared what everybody thought, I'd be going, and then I think what happened was, and then would it be okay if I talk to you guys with a little bit of, you know, would it be okay? Do you mind if, shut up, dude, just be yourself, be authentic. If someone doesn't like you, that's okay. Because guess what, folks? Not everyone's going to like you. Hey, David Clark, you realize not everyone's going to like you, right? Exactly. So who do you, who, so if not everyone's going to like you, right? You already know that. Well, then who are you trying to impress? Who are you going to pick? Adrian Rogers. Who are you going to pick if you know not everybody's going to like you? Who should you pick? Who are you going to please? That's right. Yeah, that's right. Me. You pick you, dog. Everybody else, you hope they like you, but dude, you gotta like you. Don't worry about if they like you. You can't control them. You hope they do, but guess what? How are they gonna like you if you're not being you? How are they gonna like you if you're not standing up for yourself, saying what you believe? How are they gonna like you if they don't even know you? How are they gonna know you if you don't get up and talk and open your mouth? State what you believe, but most people won't do that. Most people won't do that. You know why? Because they don't value themselves. We've been taught to value everybody else's opinion rather than our own. We're taught to shut up, don't make noise, fly under the radar. Shh, don't be wrong. You don't want to be wrong. Well, why not? I've been wrong a million times, man. Don't worry about being wrong. Don't worry about failing, because you can't really fail unless you stop trying. That's when you fail. So if you just continue, it's impossible to fail. It's not a failure until you've literally stopped trying. Then you can fail. But if you never stop trying, you can't fail. So who wants to learn how to fix that confidence? Or is everybody already confident?
Let's hear it.
Stormy?